Hello there guys, welcome back to Younes Talks Football, welcome back to a brand new video. I hope all of you are doing well today on this bright Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday, which means one thing, Chelsea play on Saturday, so the preview, a Chelsea match preview is going to have to be done tomorrow. It's the first time I'm looking at this and going, oh, do I have to? Do I actually have to? What am I going to say? What am I going to go on and say tomorrow? I think it's going to go very well, people. I just know it's not. Look at this week so far in the FA Cup. The two teams that we've lost to, the last two games that we've lost, those two teams, Tottenham and Southampton, and they both get knocked out of the FA Cup by who? By Sheffield United and Grimsby Town. I mean, those two teams, Sheffield United and Grimsby, credit to Sheffield United. I think they're going to get promoted to the Premier League, so you can count them as a de facto Premier League team anyway. Grimsby Town are in League 2, scoring twice against Southampton. We could hardly get a shot on target. I mean, honestly, absolutely outrageous. So what am I going to say tomorrow? What am I going to come on and say tomorrow? Tune in and find out, because I'll think about it, I'll sleep on it, and I'll see what comes to mind, and I'll show you tomorrow. So I'll see all of you then. Don't forget, be here for the preview to Chelsea versus Leeds. Okay. Before we get into today's video, don't forget, Twitter and Instagram, links are in the description. Also, make sure you do check out the video that I done with George Benson earlier on in the week. He was on this channel as well. Remember, that is going to be a regular feature between us two. It's the start of a little journey, so make sure it's the start of a regular feature. So make sure you guys are going to be there for that. Make sure your eyes are peeled. Let's get cracking into today's video. I didn't do a video yesterday because I was scrolling and I was seeing what was going on. There wasn't even much going on elsewhere, except for reaction after the FA Cup and Tottenham getting knocked out, which is always funny. And it's as I've said, it's hilarious that we end up losing to Spurs in the way we do, Southampton, and then they get knocked out of the cup so easily. Arsenal looking pretty good. Manchester United, Man United showing exactly what it means to have mentality. You know, the 1-0 down, no problem. It's fine. You know, even if there's 15 minutes left, it's fine. No problem. Comes back, win 3-1. You know, and they had a disallowed goal. Rightfully so. But you just, that's a team that has a proper, it's not even mentality. It's like a switch that team has now implemented in them, where if they really want to turn it on and go, lads, we need to do it. We're going to go out there and do it. It's going to take us 5 minutes, but we're going to do it, right? They will do it. With us, we've scored 6 goals since November. So, you know, it's a mess. But Man United are the perfect example under Erik ten Hag of exactly what it means to have a proper mentality. And we are screaming for that. The news that was out yesterday, which I looked at and I was like, I'm not going to do a video on this. It's pointless. It's the whole FAB, right? The new Chelsea Fan Advisory Board, right? So apparently there's going to be fans that are going to have a place on the board at Chelsea Football Club, and everyone got excited, right? Everyone got, you know, very, very jubilated, and everyone was like, oh my God, fans are going to be on the board. That's what I thought, right? Technically, yes. But for all the things that you think are the reasons, no. Absolutely not. So it's nothing to get excited about. It's a good move. It's a good strategic move. It's a good move concerning the fans and their role and their experiences, should I add. It's all about the fan experience. That's why it's been done. And Chelsea are not the first. Man United, I think, have already got that on board. Liverpool, I think, have that on board. And now Chelsea are doing the same. Although Chelsea seem a little bit more direct, like an actual fan representative on the board. But it's not going to be for the matters that you all think. People heard this, and I have to say, I thought the same until I done some digging. I was like, okay, maybe not. People think, oh, great. Well, fans are now going to have a say in transfers. Fans are going to have to say, we're going to have a say on management. We're going to have a say on results. We're going to have a say on what happens in the dressing room. We're going to... No. That fan representative, the fan advisory board, are going to be there in place to make sure that fans and their opinions are getting heard in terms of the experience, in terms of a match day experience, in terms of social media, in terms of any fan engagement. Things that are to do with a match day, things that are to do with fans and the material, the clicks, social media, all of that we get as supporters, merchandise, like all of that will be discussed. But in terms of like, go and get this player, this manager, this, that, and the other, in terms of footballing affairs, that fan representative has nothing to do on the board with those matters. So don't get too excited. This is why I didn't do a video yesterday. There was no point. But overall, it's a good move. It's a positive move. Absolutely, I welcome it. It's better than nothing. But yeah, and I think from a business perspective, I can understand why they wouldn't want fans to be involved. Although right now, I think it's pretty safe to say the evidence shows that this season, fans are actually correct with the way that they're analysing the situation at Chelsea Football Club as compared to the owners right now when it comes to the management. But yeah, we'll wait and see. Now, I've been thinking about the management situation, and I'm seeing all the other lads do videos on which manager they want. We're hearing every single manager come to the flipping fray. But I'm literally watching this situation, and it's funny that when it comes to Chelsea managers, right? When it comes to who each person wants, you're not wrong. Right? I don't feel like there's a right answer or a wrong answer. I feel like everyone sees football from their lenses, from their perspective, and that's the way that they enjoy the game. So they get the man that's best suited for the way that they want to see their team play, which is correct. This is why there's no right or wrong. But when it comes to just getting rid of Graham Potter, everyone unanimously is in the same boat, right? Everyone is going, this guy needs to go. Now, I've been thinking, and I'm like, okay, look, we all want Graham Potter to go. I can't help but think that there has to be a reason as to why he's not gone yet. And the only possible reason that I can think of is this termination clause. And the fact that this termination clause has something to do with Chelsea playing European football or Champions League football. It has to. Because the fact that he's getting into Dortmund, right? We'll see what happens on Saturday first, right? And then Dortmund. We all agree that he needs to go now in order for us to salvage something for Dortmund. Because if he's in charge for Leeds and for Dortmund, we'll probably get in 2 L's. That's how we're seeing the situation. And anything else that comes, we'll be surprised. But I can only think that this termination clause, which till today, we still don't know what the clause actually is, has something to do with European football or the Champions League. And it's only after we actually get knocked out of the Champions League that at that point the clause can be triggered. That's the only possible reason that I'm thinking Potter's not gone yet. Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments if you think that could be it. Or do you think the owners are just actually blindly sticking loads of faith on this guy and thinking it's going to happen? Do you actually think, like some fans have been pointing out, as I mentioned recently, Tony SW6 pointed it out, I've spoken to some of the other guys, I've seen you in the comments as well, you've said it too, saying that once we get knocked out against Dortmund, at that point they're going to be like, oh, we don't need to sack him now. Season's a write-off. Might as well keep him to the end of the season until we get relegated. Honestly, the way it's looking like, we could actually get relegated. I can't believe I'm saying this, but change needs to be made. So, on that basis, I'm hoping that considering right now, right, it's March. We've just hit March. And if you're looking to get rid of a manager, I think it's wise that you actually start thinking about who you want to come in. And if there's no one to come in immediately, you need to start thinking of who you want to bring in as an interim and who you're going to get in the summer or who you're going to target in the summer. And the conversations need to start now. Now. When you look historically and you look at managers that we've ended up getting in the summer, those conversations have started months before. So everyone I see is doing a video. And I was like, you know what? I've already done a video with George talking about top 3 managers and whatnot, but I'm going to give my 2 cents exactly how I see it. And I'm going to be fair. I'm going to be logical, and I'm going to be honest. I've seen George vouch for Jose. I've seen Rory vouch for Jose. That one caught me by surprise. I've seen Matisse vouch for Poch. I've seen Miz vouch for Luis Enrique. Drogbaba wants Simeone. That's an interesting one. Everyone's got their opinion, right? Now, many fans are asking for Flick. We got to read the situation as it is. I'm gonna tell you as it is, and then I'm gonna tell you what I think about my opinion. So, if we go through the names, Luis Enrique seems to be the most linked at the moment, and the most linked because he's available. Right? Hansi Flick is in a job at the moment with Germany. There's doubts as to whether he'd actually leave that role because Euro 2024, and I'm sure he's going to want to manage there, and I think that's part of the plan. So is he actually going to go? And we haven't actually heard any links to Flick, except for he's shown up at the Bridge once and shown up at another Chelsea game once to watch Chelsea, or maybe watch Kai Havertz, which is a little bit bizarre because I don't get why you'd fly all that way just to watch Kai Havertz. You'd get a pretty good idea by just watching the TV on what Kai Havertz is doing. So Hansi Flick, there's not actually been any links, but it's a manager that many fans are looking and go, yeah, I'd take Flick. Fair enough. Zidane is available, a new ambassador to the Alpine F1 team. Is he going to come to Chelsea though? Some people are honestly looking at this going, no. He's very well in his ways. It'd be a big risk for him to come to Chelsea. His English is limited. He does speak a bit of English, by the way. He doesn't speak no English. He does speak a little bit of English. He's not fluent at 100%, but he does speak a little bit of English. But there's just, is it too unrealistic? He hasn't had, experience being able to start a team from scratch, much like this one, or a bunch of young lads that haven't really achieved much, except for some Champions League winners in the team, but we move. So many are looking at him going, he's probably waiting for a national job, he's waiting for Real Madrid again if Ancelotti leaves. Anyway, so Zidane looking unrealistic. Poch is another one who is available. Poch is available, but many fans are just looking at Poch and going, nope. And I understand why. There's the whole Tottenham link. There's the whole thing about how he didn't want to come to us anyway, so we're not even going to entertain this. His heart's not going to be in it. We need someone with their heart proper in it for Chelsea, and he's not going to do that. He's just going to be there as a coach and not really care. So I get that. Even though personally, with Poch, I think there's good elements to his management. I have to be honest, right? There's good elements to his management. I think what he done at Tottenham, despite the lack of resources and despite the lack of expectation, was a good job. Champions League final and all of that, good job. At the end of the day, did he actually win anything? No. You could argue, did Mourinho win anything at Tottenham? No. Did Conte win anything? No. They're out the FA Cup, so he's going to be leaving Tottenham without a trophy. It's the Tottenham way. So there's that point to make anyway. But with Poch, went to PSG with chances for trophies, egos, big personalities, and it didn't really go well. So there's that point to be made about Poch. Is he really, elite material? Maybe, maybe not. Yeah. But the fact that he's ex-Tottenham and he was ex-Tottenham for so long is something that fans just don't want, and I get it. So there's that, and there's Mourinho. Now Mourinho, a lot of people are looking at the Mourinho link and going, okay, firstly, he's at Roma, so is he even going to leave? Secondly, this is purely sentimental. Can we stop? I hear that. I completely hear that. There's fans that are genuinely concerned that if he were to come back, even though many fans, I think, agree that right now, in terms of mentality and in terms of what this team needs, Mourinho would do it. But fans are worried that in the long term, it's going to explode. In the long term, youth players won't get a chance. In the long term, some good players we have now might get kicked out of the team because we kicked De Bruyne away and we kicked Mo Salah away. So it's PTSD. With Mourinho, it's just PTSD. It's constant reminders of what happened last time, and they don't want that happening again. Despite the good things that he brings, fans genuinely have that idea of, oh my God, I don't want to go through that again. Fair enough. So those are all the links, right? Have I missed anyone? I don't think I've missed anyone. Oh yeah, Diego Simeone. I mean, mentality, absolutely. Felix would probably get sold. I mean, let's just have it right. Felix, well, he'd probably go back to Atletico. He's like, Simeone's coming here, I'm going back to Madrid. See you later. So he'd probably be off to Atletico again. But apart from that, winning mentality. But he's very defensive. Very, very, very defensive. Like, look, there's Mourinho that's fairly defensive, counter-attacking based, not much possession, tries to get lethal on the counter. There's Antonio Conte, more defensive, tries to hit the counter, but does rely on just having a complete big defensive block and make life hard for the opponent to get through. And then there's Diego Simeone, who basically, I don't want to say terrorist football, but it is basically just, lads, just defend. Just defend, and then link the ball up and just defend. So there is that. Although he is a good manager, and I feel his personality is what shines. His personality is what, the guy's a warrior on the touchline. He's a warrior with his lads. And to be honest, it's actually quite funny that with Atletico, he's been there long term. He's been there for how long? 10 years, Gets paid 30 million a year, so I'm not surprised, but 10 years, there's that. So, out of all those guys, who's ideal? I'll tell you what. Hansi Flick, personally, I want to put in the same bracket as Luis Enrique to an extent, because Hansi Flick and Luis Enrique both have similar paths in terms of Luis Enrique had MSN, Barcelona, massive success, right? Huge win percentage. At Roma, pretty low. Celta Vigo, I'm not really going to mention Celta Vigo because anyone would probably flop at Celta Vigo, with all due respect to Celta Vigo. But there's that. And in terms of Barcelona, came after Pep, and it was just Messi, Suarez, Neymar. You could argue that team could have managed itself. And we said that back at the time. I remember saying that and going, this team can manage itself. You can put a flipping Broom in charge of Barcelona and the Broom would win the Champions League. Like, it's just because that Barcelona team was actually quite incredible. So there is that. With Spain, national team route, it's been all right. Dodgy World Cup, but done all right, I guess. Hansi Flick, similar situation. Gets to Bayern Munich, does absolutely immense, right? With a top Bayern Munich team. Does immense, wins every trophy there is to win. Luis Enrique almost wins every single trophy there is to win. Technically he did, but not in the same season. Hansi Flick did it with Bayern Munich in the same season, much like Pep at Barca before Luis Enrique did it in the same season. Hansi Flick, you could argue, done a better job at Bayern Munich than Pep did at Bayern Munich. So there is that. When you look at the styles, Luis Enrique, very possession-based. Very, 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 very possession-based. Whether that's horizontal or vertical, the guy is just all about possession. I don't know if going possession-based is the right way for us. I don't want us to keep the ball just for keeping the ball, for the sake of just keeping the ball. That's just not... That's my opinion. You might be up for that. You might be like, we absolutely need to control the game and hold the ball for 90 minutes, right? Fair. With me, I'm more about just the actual output, let alone... I don't care if we had 40% possession. I don't care. What's the score? That's all I'm bothered about. So it depends how you read the game. Luis Enrique, very, very possession-based. Luis Enrique, I feel though, I don't know, does he have the quality that I see that this Chelsea team absolutely needs right now, which is discipline, mentality, and... players being pushed. We need these players to be pushed. Now, some would argue that's not what you got to do in the modern era right now, because players are soft. You got to, put an arm around them, and you got to be nice, and you got to just, it's all about the football, and it's not about the physicality, and it's not about the mentality. I get that players are soft, but there's a reason why players are soft. I think it's being allowed too much to happen. There needs to be a reality check. Some players need to be put through walls in order to actually give a wake-up call and start out competing the competition. I feel like that is the way, and Chelsea right now are losing their identity, losing their mentality, losing all sorts. So we need discipline. Hansi Flick, I feel like, brings more discipline than Luis Enrique. But that's just the way that I see it. Although I do kind of put them in a similar bracket, although I would prefer Hansi Flick. But the one thing is Hansi Flick has a job at the moment, and it's a job that I don't think he would leave. At least if it was a job that he would leave, I don't think he would leave. So it's tough. Luis Enrique is available. So there's those two. As I've said, Zidane, unrealistic. Simeone, don't need to go there. Mourinho, I honestly look at, right, and I see, for me, he's my pick. And I'll tell you why. Some people are going to say you're being sentimental. I was here on this platform advocating to bring back Mourinho when AVB was in charge. Right? I was here. I was doing that. Why was I doing that? Because it was sentimental. That was sentimental. We had Mourinho 04-07. Absolute boss. The best Mourinho that anyone has ever seen. Some would argue Inter Milan are the only ones that can come into that conversation, might I add, right? Real Madrid's to an extent. But no one else had Mourinho like we did except for Inter. So there's that. When you have AVB, and it's not been too long after you saw that Mourinho leave your club, you're like, mate, you got to bring him back right now. This is the biggest mistake we've ever made. Bring him back to the club immediately. We had Benitez on an interim and the deal was already done with Jose. We just didn't know. I was advocating for that. That was sentiment. I wasn't looking at the team and going, how do we play our football? What's best for us? What's the circumstance? I was going, yo, look, AVB is washed. AVB doesn't know what he's doing. We need to get rid of this guy and we need to get Jose back. And that was that was it. That was my entire basis of the argument. Bring back Jose because it was beautiful and I need more of it. That's not the case now. I would argue this is a lot less sentimental than the second time. This time is actually more logical than the second time. If I had a choice to do it the second time or to do it now, I would be saying do it now. Why? Chelsea right now lack the one thing that I know Jose would come in and implement immediately. And I have to say off the bat, I am aware that if Jose comes, it might not last. I'm willing to take that. Because we need a foundation built again. We need someone to come in and lay our identity up again. Which it's disintegrated. We haven't got it. It's gone. We need someone to put that platform back in place. And then if he's here for the long term, great. If he doesn't get results down the line and he gets sacked, well, I'm sorry, third time we tried. Good luck, mate. You know, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. This time, unlike the second time, unlike the first time for sure, this time, whatever happens, happens. Because you got to be realistic. There is no long term without the short term, people. There was more of a chance of hiring someone for the long term back then than there is now. So to think that now anyone's going to walk in and go, oh, we're thinking about the next 10 years. Get out. Get out. We thought that with Potter. Did we not? Look at us. And that's not to say it's everyone. But to expect to actually just look around and go, he's the next Pep. He's the next Klopp. He'll be here for the next 7 years. Unrealistic. We had the mistake of everyone trying to find the next Sir Alex Ferguson and the next Arsene Wenger. Did we find them? No, you won't. Because football isn't like it was back then. And that's the reality. And hence why I'm saying it's not sentimental when it comes to Jose. I've thought this through and I know the points. I know the points about longevity and trying to go long term and all of those points. I am aware. This club needs an identity again. This club needs a mentality. This club needs a culture. Who better than the manager that knows this club better than any other manager in the world right now that's currently in or not in employment? Mourinho knows this club, man. Mourinho, everyone would look at Jose and go, yo, this guy's been here many times. He probably knows rooms that we haven't been into yet. You know, at Cobham, he's probably aware of places that players haven't even gone to yet. Or at the Bridge, you know, I don't know. Mourinho probably take players to places in the stadium that be like, I didn't know this place existed. Jose knows. Been here a long time. We need someone to implement that mentality again. Now, when it comes to the football, when it comes to the way we play, I completely understand. Some people are not going to be on board with the way that he likes his teams to play. As I've said, me, personally, I couldn't care less. I couldn't care. And this is why I'm always, when it comes to styles, I'm always very open. I'm not fussed. If we have someone that's defensive-minded, great. If we have someone that's attacking-minded, great. This is why I wasn't against Sarri. If anything, you want to build a project, right? Sarri was actually the right way to go. But we didn't really give much of a chance to Mauricio Sarri, and he decided he wanted to go back home because he was homesick. You know, we didn't exactly make him feel very welcome. So there's that point that has to be made. When it comes to style of football, many people are going to go, no, I want my team to play beautiful football, and I want us to do it in a certain way and all of that. For me, my opinion, and this is why I said there's no right or wrong. It depends how you interpret for your football, how you read the game. For me, I'm bothered about my team winning. That's it. I want my team to win. Done. And of course, with the objectivity, with the eyes on promoting some youth, getting players in, spotting good talents, being able to build a spine, and try and get a team that will last for the next decade. Absolutely on board with that. But in terms of how they do it and how they play, are we winning? Yes. Job done. I'm happy. That's it. I couldn't care less. So, this is why for me, getting Jose, not a problem. I know the football that we'd be playing. I'm all for it. I'm absolutely all for it. But Jose needs the correct players. I understand that snowflakes will not work in a Jose team. I look at this Chelsea team right now, and I would argue there probably are some snowflakes, but I look overall And I see potential in these players that I can actually get that, I hate to use the word, but the dog out of them. You know? I look at Enzo and I feel like there is a toughness there. I even look at Felix. Now technical he is, but I feel like there is a toughness there. You saw his first couple of games. He was going in for all sorts of challenges. He's smart when he knows how to go down. That's something. Mudrik's not had a good start. But you can just tell his eyes, man. You can just tell the way that his physicality. You can just tell if you had a manager that's able to push him physically and mentally, the guy will turn into a monster. That is how I see it. Reece James, future captain. The man's a beast. I honestly think you put Reece James under a mentality monster. I hate the mentality monster. You put him under a manager like Jose, for example, he'll be going through brick walls. You know? Thiago Silva, fantastic experience. He's already extended into next season. Imagine Thiago Silva being, the mentor in the team, being led by Jose. It'd be a privilege for Jose. Jose would be like, finally, someone of my flipping mould. Thiago. If you go throughout the team, the players that we know we're going to be getting rid of, and at that point, identify more players to come in. It wasn't too long Mourinho mentioned Osimhen of Napoli and said if he goes to the Premier League, he needs to stop diving a little bit because they'll catch on over there. But he's got everything to replicate what Drogba did in England. If anything, we got a striker problem, haven't we? Who's our top two strikers at Chelsea in the last 20, 30 years? Didier Drogba, Diego Costa. Who signed them? Jose. Both of them. Drogba, Roman, pay and don't speak. Pay. The rest is history. Diego Costa. Jose got him with Fabregas, didn't he? So honestly, that's another point. The youth is something that many people are scared of. The youth. That was my concern. I have to say, I honestly believe that with this new ownership in charge, Mourinho coming to Chelsea, when you look at Roma and the profile of job, like Jose said, he said it's a different profile of job. It's not somewhere that I'm coming in to, having to expect to win immediately. It's more of a project. His words, when he signed for Roma, his words. So it's a different profile of job. There's going to be more in terms of trying to scout the talent and trying to build and look long term and all of that, right? He's done exactly that. 10 youth players from the youth team Mourinho promoted to the first team squad. 2 of them have been sold, made a bit of money. 1 of them out on loan. 7 of them still available. I think there's about 3 of them that make regular features in the first team right now. Zalewski, left back, left wing back, plays for Roma week in, week out. I think if Mourinho's given the profile and gone, we're looking to implement some youth, we're going to have to do that. All that needs to be clarified in conversations before even signing a contract, by the way. I feel like he would do it. I honestly feel like he would do it. And the more that he gets older, the more that I think he starts to think about that. Unlike before, where his prime objective, even as an individual, was to, I want to win in England, I want to win in Spain, I want to win in Italy, I want to do this, I want to do that. He's done it all. So now it's more, I want a job where I have stability. At Chelsea, he never got that. And other clubs, he never got that. Now, he comes to, at Roma, lack of resources. Not much money. Spent a little bit. Bought Tammy Abraham. Tells you everything you need to know. An actual Chelsea Academy boy that wasn't doing that well, even though, to be honest, he did well. But towards the end, wasn't doing brilliantly. Jose took him and was like, nah, I want to work with you. He does have an eye for it. Coming to Chelsea, with the money available now. New ownership that I think will be more open to thinking long-term than Roman. That's definitely something. And even for Mourinho, it'd be a point to prove. He would have something to prove at Chelsea this time. Because he knows deep down if he fails at Chelsea, well, that's it. If he were to come back and try one more stint in the Premier League, like now, he would have to succeed. He would have to make sure things don't blow up. He would have to make sure that he has the stability. He's come back, he lives 200 meters away from the stadium. It would be ideal for him to think, I want to be here for the next 5-6 years. I'm going to have to do things maybe a bit differently to before. But, in terms of personalities, relationships, all of that, he would have to tone it down. He would have to. Because if not, after that, what happens? If he wanted a project, he could have stayed at Roma. Although Chelsea, I think, is the one club that he would probably go, no, I'm going back home. So when you look at all of those points, that the only thing that strikes me is what would be the relationship between Mourinho and the new owners. That's the only thing. That's the only thing that I can go, I honestly don't know. It could work brilliantly because he would find more openness, more communication, more money available, more all sorts, right? More of a project at Chelsea than he did under Roman. But at the same time, Jose's not a yes man at all. And if we are correct in our analysis that maybe they're looking to yes men, then he's got no chance. So that's it. But right now we are screaming for this team to be brought some stability. We need some stability. And you can bet, even if Jose were to be short term, he would bring stability for the next 2-3 seasons. Minimum. Winning mentality implemented, foundation reinstalled, the culture back, the identity back. And then if Jose were to go, not a problem. But what these players in this squad that are quite young now learn in those 2 to 3 years, if it only lasts that long, is something they can take forward under new management and under someone that's going to elevate them to the next level. But I feel like what Mourinho can bring right now is exactly what Chelsea need right now. And then we'll see what happens. As I've said, if it lasts 3 years, it lasts 3 years. It's the modern day era. This is how it is. I'm not expecting the manager to come in and stay in for 8-9 years. I'm just not. I'm past that now. You got to understand short term and then long term. You don't get the long term without the short term. So it is what it is. And when it comes to being able to build in that manner, when it comes to a Jose coming and installing that point of mentality and laying that foundation, this team's young. Some fans are going, he won't do it with young players. He needs ready-made players. When we first had Jose in the club and we had young Czech, young JT, young Lamps, young Drogba, all of those guys, what happened? They were all 23, 24, 25. Worked wonders. We had a team that lasted a decade. It's exactly what we need right now. And I feel like Jose with these guys would do it. So let's wait and see. Something that at United and at Tottenham, I don't feel like he had. But that would be my go-to for right now. And realistically, as I've said, he would leave Roma to come back to Chelsea 100%. Especially if they don't make Champions League football, he would. He would come back home. But apart from that, yeah, Luis Enrique, available now. Hansi Flick, no, we don't know. We genuinely don't know. Although I would take Hansi Flick at the end of the day, I probably would. Zidane, unrealistic. Simeone, unrealistic. What else? Let me know down below. Much appreciated for watching. Bit of a long one. The videos are getting longer now because there's just so much to talk about. There's so much. It just doesn't end. And I didn't give you a video yesterday, so you're probably getting your money's worth, let's say, by getting this much of a video. Tomorrow, I will be giving you my preview, so make sure you're here for that. Chelsea versus Leeds. Find out what I'm going to say, because I don't know what I'm going to say. So come in and find out what I'm going to say. I'll see all of you then. Much appreciated. Thank you for watching. Hit the subscribe button if you are new. Hit the notification bell to be notified once I've uploaded. Smash the like button if you've enjoyed this. Let me know down below who you want. But as I've said, for me, right now, bring back the special one. I'll see all of you tomorrow. Have a good one, people. See you then. Take care and peace.